Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks so much for popping in. Now, every month we have a challenge, and if you want to know the details, just pop along to the website. And the main thing is the winner is chosen at random, and you can win a £40 voucher to spend at Lavinia. And the theme for this month is the joys of spring. So I thought I'd team up some of our well-loved stamps, well-used stamps, with one of our new stamps. And this new stamp is called the Book of Spells. But today, for me, it's going to be the Little Book of Spring. And as soon as I saw this stamp, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it. And I had so much fun at creating this. I'm going to pretend I'm a florist for the day, and I'm going to do some flower arranging. So if you've got some of our smaller sets of stamps, some of the mini stamps, get yourself together and let's create this lovely design. And it all starts off, I've mounted mine just to show you what it looks like, but I'm actually going to start off with a piece of multifarious card, and this is 5 inches square. Now, ahead of time, I've stamped myself a mask, and for that I've used the masking sheets. And all you do with the masking sheets is, look, I save every little bit. You stamp in your Versafine Clair ink on the tissue side and then cut it out. You don't want to see me doing this, honestly. Cutting out, well, you know, it can be a bit fiddly. And then I peel off the tissue, and it's the tissue that you use. The plastic bit for me is just to carry it, and that goes in the bin. I found mine in the bin. Because for me, I store mine on the back of the acetate. So for every stamp, look, I have a mask that I've used, and I just keep it on the acetate because you can reuse it 3 or 4 times. So I've got another one here that I've literally just cut out, look. So what I'm going to do first is stamp this lovely open book. Now, I know, obviously, the idea is Book of Spells, and I'm thinking Halloween and magic, but also I'm thinking if you need a card for somebody, and often we get asked cards for men, well, if he likes music, use your music notes. It could be a little book of music. You know, that's what I love about Lavinia Stamps, that we can mix and match all our ideas. And I'm thinking those cheeky mice, we could have a little book of cheeky mice. Could it be a recipe book? So I'm just using my black, my Versafine Clair, and I'm going to come in and stamp it. I want it sort of in the middle, but again, it's a handcrafted card, so everything by eye. And we'll give that a nice stamp. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to blot this before I put my mask on, because I don't want to smudge it, and it's important for me. And yes, the lady who messaged me recently and said in her head she can hear me saying, blot it because Versafine Clair is a slow drying ink. I'm going to say it again, lovely lady, because your Versafine Clair, slow drying ink, we don't want to smudge it. We want to keep our work as you know, fabulous as possible. Now, this is a bit, you might see the top of my head, in which case I apologise, but you need to get the mask directly over. And you know what? That'll do for me. If it's not quite right, I'm going to add some shadowing, so I'm happy with that. It's quite a fiddly one to cut out this, so I don't want to put it on and off, so I'm going with that. I'm happy with that. Now to start my flower arranging. The first stamp I'm going to use is off the Vine set, and it's this lovely leaf. And I've got a selection of colours out, and I'm going to start with, what I did was I went with my Versafine Clair and looked at the different greens and yellows that I'd got to start off with. I was thinking spring colours. Now, if you're coming into autumn, you could easily change this up, maybe make a spring one for the challenge, but then maybe you make an autumnal one for maybe a friend's birthday. Avocado. And what I'm going to do is just stamp some leaves. And as I say, I'm just pretending I'm flower arranging. So I'm going to stamp my first one here. And I just want to build up sort of the outer part. And so I'm just going to come up with first, and I love to use second generation. I think it's very forgiving. It adds a nice bit of depth, but also I feel I'm using up that ink that I've got on my stamp anyway. And I'm just going to create almost the shape to start off with. I'm going to add some to this side. And this is just the foliage to start off with. And again, because we've masked the book look, I can stamp over the book just to get that lovely design. And then in the middle, I'm just going to come in with another one there, second and third generation. Now, as I say, you'll have so many stamps that you can use, and I love these little sets. And you know I do because I use them again and again. So the next one, I looked at my foliage set, and I've gone for this little flower that I use a lot. And this time, Golden Meadow. And this is sort of, dare I say, a dirty yellow. It's sort of a bit of a greeny yellow. When you open it, it's quite green, look, but it does stamp quite yellow. In this, I'm just going to put just various places, look. And again, we're just building this up. And then I'm just going to add a couple a little bit further out. And then one at each side, look. And then a couple in the middle. I don't want to overcook it. You know what I'm like, no pizzas here. We just wanted to make it look like a beautiful flower arrangement. And I'm just wiping each one with a damp cloth and then my Inky Binky so I can put them away nice and clean. So we've got a new set called Wild Foliage. And on that set, I've got this lovely little, looks like a Ginkgo leaf. Again, I'm not sure if it is, but it looks like that to me. And I'm going to come in with Verdant. Now, there's a large one and a smaller one, but I just feel as though I want a little bit of detail. Just in various places. And I love the colour. To use a different green. And like I say, I'm not going to overcook it, look. Maybe just a little one up there. Just to add that little bit more interest. And I'm just going to come in down here. If you've got spaces at the bottom, it just fills that in nicely. I'm going to stop there. I can always come back and add a couple more if I want. But also on this set, there's this lovely sort of, looks a bit like, to me, a floating leaf. Now, if you're doing anything underwater, I think this would look underwater because it looks like that sort of, you know, like the river weed that flows in the rivers. Although that could just be in my head, it looks like that. And this is off this new Wild Foliage set as well. And I'm coming in with Cheerful now. And Cheerful is the bright yellow. So what I'm thinking is I'm just going to emphasise that shape now and bring in this lovely bright yellow. So again, I'm going all the way down, but actually just popping out with that yellow look. And again, anywhere where you've got spaces, sorry, excuse me, you know my dodgy throat, it's a bit tired after the weekend, it needs a bit of a rest, sorry. So can you see, I've got that lovely shape. And I love that yellow, but I just want a little bit more. And what I'm thinking is on the foliage set, we've got these lovely catkins. And what I'm thinking is if I use the catkins, look, we can almost have a little bit more structure. And I'm going to put these in groups of 3, look. Sort of first, second and third generation, just to give me that little bit of, as I say, a little bit more structure to the design. But it won't take anything away. It just adds to that lovely shape. So we just want one more set here next to our ginkgo leaves and one over here. Now it's useful, as you can see, obviously my book isn't quite in the middle and I've gone to the edge here, I'm conscious of that. So if I extend this one a little bit, and maybe just put a little bit here. That will balance it out and it won't be as obvious. I mean, I can always trim that slightly, but I just thought I'd point that out to show you. If that happens to you, just extend the design this way a little bit and, you know, nobody will know. So with my foliage, that's my background foliage done, and I'm really happy with that. Now, when it came, I wanted to add some flowers, and I've gone for the little flower off the vine set, and there's 2 on this set. And I've gone for the colour Lilac Bloom, just because in my head when I was thinking spring, I was thinking crocuses, and I love the purpley tones in the crocuses. But again, you could bring in, if this was for a friend who, say, loved pink, I think it would look lovely adding some pink flowers. But just choose one colour tone, and I'm just randomly going to stamp some lovely flowers. And again, I'm not going to overcook it, but I just want it to look balanced. And I think that does. So again, I'm going to give that a blot. What do we say? Versafine Clair, slower drying ink. And that's how come you can put your clear embossing powder over the top. Remember, because it's a slower drying ink. And then just before I take the mask off, what I'm going to do is come in with some lemon drop. And my number 3 brush, and here where it's quite white, I almost want to make the lids very, it's a snug fit, shall we say. And just to take the white off and sort of add some yellowy spring tones. And again, I'm blending from the lid because I don't want it too strong. And I'm just looking for a piece of kitchen roll to lean on. Where I want this white space, I don't want to get any marks. So we'll blend that in, and I can hold this. And again, I'm going in the direction, don't go against your little mask or it might peel off. And I'm just adding that lovely yellowy tone into these areas. Just to take away, I don't want it white, I want it to be quite yellow because of spring. And it's amazing how just taking that white makes such a difference. And you can go out as far as you want. Again, if you needed to extend it at one side, just subtly bring that colour out. Yeah, happy with that. So now I can take the lovely mask off. Now to peel the mask off, a little tip, and I do this with the sticker stencils, I bend my card. And if I just slightly bend my card, look, you'll find the mask will peel up in a corner. And it's easier then to just do that this side as well, look, and just peel it off. And as I say, I'm going to file that on the acetate because I can use that again. Look at that, so happy with this. Right, a little bit of colour to the book. My lovely Modulars pencils, and we're going to use number 3, 30 and 32. And with number 3, I'm just going to come to the edge of the book. And again, these pages, I'm just going with the yellows and browns. And I'm going to use my darker brown for the cover at the base. Now, obviously, you can use whatever colour you want. And I'm just going to put the darker brown on the inside of the pages. And then with my mid brown, just blend into that yellow. Just so I've got that lovely combination of, I was thinking the yellow to keep the lovely spring colours. And then the brown for the pages in my book. Then I'm just going over with the yellow just to blend it all. Now, I'm going to use my clear Wink of Stella to blend, but you could use a water brush, or actually with using the yellow, it's almost blended the pencils themselves. So I'm going to go from the yellow at the end and then blend into that brown, and we'll get that lovely Wink of Stella shimmer on the book pages. And just give it a clean till it runs clean. Now also a little bit of shading. So I'm going to come in with my lovely pastel pencils. And I'm just going to use a dark brown right under the book, just sort of to extend the design and give a little bit of shade. Then I'm just going to come in with a lighter brown, again just to mix those tones. Biodegradable cotton bud, just to save using my finger to blend. And I'm just going to blend that pastel. The blending does two things. It helps fixes it, but also I think it looks nicer. I'm just going to give that bit of a glow off camera. And then I just want that slightly darker just under the middle, just to emphasise that. Now, if you want it a little bit darker in the middle, use your green. You know where we came in with our yellow? You can just emphasise it a little bit and add a little bit of the green pastel. So again, your pastel works beautifully on top. Sorry, excuse me. You can tell I've done too much talking, can't you? My naughty throat. And I just think that really helps bring it to life. The pastel pencils are fabulous for this. So, little bit of extra detail time. The gold Signo Uniball pen. And let's just give that gold detail for me. This is one of those lovely old books that has the gold gilding and that little bit of detail on it. Now, some lovely finishing touch of some stickles, and we're going to do our dot and dab technique. So lovely. Do check out the colours of the stickles. So again, remember, it can be a bit rude. So we're going to dot and dab. So I'm literally putting it where I want it. Check out the colours though. We've got the most fabulous colours on the website. But I just thought this lovely springtime colour. Spring green, I was trying to say then, but can you tell my head, my mouth and my brain weren't going in the same way? Does that ever happen to you, or is it just me? So, dotting and dabbing. And this way I can just put the colour exactly where I want it, because I don't really want it on my flowers. And that's just going to give enough sparkle that will add to the whole design. Now, we'll get rid of this. And then the last finishing tricks, we want a sentiment. And I've gone for the sentiment stickers, and I'm thinking of going on the brown tones. So I thought we'll go for the Buff collection. And I've got Rays of Sunshine on my original. But we've got lots. We could put Enjoy the Journey, Today's a New Day, Let Your Thoughts Go. You could have journaling. This could be journaling with flowers, couldn't you? You could have raindrops, petals. But I'm going to go for Ray of Sunshine again, because I think for me, spring is such a little ray of sunshine. And I'm just going to use my scissors to decide. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for the middle. And often I use a black fine liner pen to go round, but I like this with it having the buff colour. So I'm going to leave that. Again, we don't always have to do exactly the same thing, but I do want a couple of these lovely little butterflies. So, and again, I just get spoilt for choice, because for me, spring is just such a lovely time. As soon as you see the butterflies, Eric was at the park the other day and we just got our coffee and the most gorgeous butterfly went past. So I'm thinking, let's have two, as though the book's open and we've got the most gorgeous spring flowers and the butterflies. Quite like this one here. I'm going to go for this one. And again, I just peel them off and I like the colour tones for that one there. And again, you've got such a lovely collection, look. And larger ones, if you want to go large, you could have always put one of your Wild and Free Nature's colours. You could have used that for your sentiment. And very lastly, I'm going to come in with some sparkly yellow Posca, just because I like it. But again, if you're not feeling it, leave this bit off. But also for me, if you want to extend the design, look, we can just put a little bit of Posca up there, over here, just to take that whiteness off. Also for me, it'll equal up those sides. So I'm not going to trim this. I'm happy with the fact I can bring that yellow Posca in. add a tiny bit down here, but only a tiny. Don't want to overcook it. And there we go. I've got my beautiful little book of spring. So I cannot wait to see what sort of book you create. Is it going to be floral like mine? What ideas have you got? And I bet you can't wait to go and play. So have fun. Remember to tag me in, please. I'd love to see your ideas, because that's what's lovely about this family. We share. We love to just share ideas. So you take care. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.